SBA EIDL Loan Update 2023 forgiveness on the SBA EIDL Loan. What's going on there? How about getting a free $500 gift card if we can't meet and beat your current funding offer? Hi, this is Michael with Viral Funding Solutions. I'm a business loan broker expert, which is another way of saying I know how to handle documentation, evaluate, analyze, and connect you with the best lenders and underwriters that are out there. And I'll be going to quite a few things. It is Friday, so happy Friday for those of you in here watching now and who will be watching on the replay later. Appreciate you. Thank you for joining. I won't take up much time on the SBA EIDL. There are a lot of bullet points that I can go through, but let's just focus on the surface level. There's a lot of back and forth with different senators, and I won't get into the whole letter that was put together for Administrator Guzman, the SBA, and more. But just know that the SBA is willing and have decided to forego debt collections on any EIDL loans under $100,000. So it's a bit of relief for those of you who are under that range. It's not to say that if you are over, we wouldn't be able to. There's this whole back and forth thing going on with the senators again. And it's just this whole back and forth again where they're trying to relieve funds and they're trying to go after those who have caused fraudulent activity as well as those who have been in the PPP. So this is a result of that as well. And so they want to go, like Senator Ernest and a few others want to go after those that are at the very top like they have been doing and start from there and work their way backwards. And so it could cause a little bit of unfairness to those people, but there's a lot of fraudulent activity out there. And just know there's this whole back and forth right now. And a lot of this, if you were to calculate the amount in total for anything underneath 100,000 for just about a lot of people, it would total somewhere between 71 to 72 billion. So I can go into this topic very deeply, but there will be a lot of back and forth going on here soon and things being proposed. Hopefully there's some changes. I know a lot of people want to have their SBA EIDL loan forgiven completely. And so there's a lot of stuff being worked on. Again, there's a lot of these letters and things proposed and things that are being said that are still up in the air and things that are trying to come to fruition and an agreement of. But not to go too deep into all that, all you need to know is right now there's been a decision where they're trying to go after any SBA EIDL loans, forego those debt collections underneath 100,000. But what about everything underneath that? Stay tuned. There may be something that does get updated. So that's where I want to spend just a little bit of time on. I can really go deep into this, start putting in a lot of names, go into things with Administrator Guzman. But that's for the most part you need to know. And I'll keep you guys up to date on what's happening there and things that have been released freshly as well, because they do periodically get released. And so now let's look at an alternative. What if you are in a position right now where, yes, I can't make my payments on EIDL. You don't understand, Michael. I can't make the payments. Okay. But the other part of this too is, are you in a position where you need more funding is the question. And so like many of us, we find ourselves needing working capital. We need things for COVID relief, for expenses. I need to pay my mortgage. I need to pay off my bills. I need to do things with payroll. The list goes on and on. But there's another side of that equation that goes, are you using this money to grow and expand your business? And I've been in this industry long enough. I have my multiple businesses as well. This is one primary one as a business loan broker / consultant. And I've funded those. And if you are in a position right now thinking, well, what can I get? What can I qualify for? Let me go into that right now. So I've made recent content on what are the SBA EIDL loan alternatives. Laptop's in front of me just in case. I wanted the screen to reflect back lighting. Sometimes when it goes dark, sometimes the screen here goes dark. So I just have it open, not even looking at it. But what if you're looking for alternative options and you're in the market? You couldn't get the PPP loan. The EIDL loans, they ran out. The 10K grant, everybody still wants it, appealing and going up in the air. Some people are still getting it, but it's very seldom. It's very sporadic. How about other things? What about the employee retention credit, where you can get up to $26,000 per employee in a refundable payroll tax credit through the Treasury Department, passed through a few of the acts out there, one of them initially being the CARES Act. And that's one where you can get up to $26,000 per qualified W-2 employees if you're paying W-2 qualified wages. I won't spend too much time on that. I did it just earlier this week, and I'll leave more content for you on that down below in the description as well as in the bio from wherever you are watching from at that time now and in the future. That's one I would jump on top of right away. I actually got in contact with a few people today via email, and I was on a quick phone call with a gentleman where I went over just making sure that they were invoiced, just making sure that they're going to make the payment and that they can receive and issue their funds, their credit. It's not a loan. It's not a grant. It's very safe and secure, especially who I work with, the best payroll management experts, the team that I have. And so if that's one part of the equation, qualifications and all that, I'll leave it into the description, into the bio. Now, another one, what is this free $500 gift card? So there are options, as you should know. There's credit, cash flow, collateral. You either have one of these three, two, or all three. And if you don't have any of them, we work on vendor credit, establishing your trade credit, your vendor credit, your retail credit, store credit. That's the same thing. Or you have fleet credit, gas credit. You can say it underneath the same one. And I've known through experience of getting it myself, as well as helping others understand that, hey, when we look at your business credit profiles, we look at those reports, it's very thin. So when you're trying to go apply for an SBA 7A loan, a bank term loan, traditionally, online, physically, whatever you're doing, they'll look at things like your personal and business credit, FICO, SBSS scores, liquid business credit. Especially now more than ever, it has to be strong. So if you haven't built enough accounts, trade lines, anything underneath your business, then it's hard to get a certain amount of funding. So when the lenders and ourselves look at your actual reports, how much credit has been issued, what's your risk association, and we look at all of these things per credit bureau, we can determine, okay, well, if they show that they've been able to take this amount of money, they've been able to build these accounts and these amount of trade lines, etc., then by that, based on their cash flow and everything, we can lend them a little bit more. We can say, hey, we can approve you of this and we can do better at that. We can get you better with business credit cards. We can do this, do that. There's so many different avenues to look at in all this, but at the end of the day, you either have the cash flow, the credit, or the collateral, or you have all three, or just two of the three. And again, I look at maximizing your best odds around those. So I'll leave these options again down below in the description. There may be a free document you can pick up where let me go through it right here with you guys. And again, we just covered, if you're just joining me, what's happening with EIDL. There's a lot to detail there, but I just wanted to give you guys a quick summary and synopsis on this and how there are letters that are out that have been sent. And I just want to go into now this next part because we could spend a whole video on just EIDL alone. But the point of this too, it's one thing you can, and it's another thing you can't do something about it. But what you can do if you're looking for more funding, there are other things to get in part of. So here I have a document on my screen that says before you click through to the application down below, I told you about in the video, which this one I didn't. And I did a live today, in case you guys were wondering, on my YouTube channel. I did about a 50 or so minute live, and I spoke about a free business loan application through revenue-based funding, where you can get this $500 free gift card if we can't meet or beat your offer, meaning if you have an offer that you haven't signed the contracts for, we would have to verify that you have a contract first, and if we can't beat the current offer, we'll give you a $500 gift card guaranteed. We usually beat things. I'm that confident, myself and my team, we normally do. I get a lot of files of people who come to me and go, hey, is this legitimate? Or hey, Michael, can you help me with more? And I go, okay, let me do my best. And what I'll do is I'll go get those lenders that I'm already directly associated with, personally and in business. I have that connection with, whether we go directly or indirectly, we can do it in a brokerage setup. I already have those relationships. So here I have a document where I just detail, starting with the revenue-based, and I go into, for the qualifications of the revenue-based without collateral, please read over this carefully, and all else from this point forward, application below. So right here, I just detail all of the qualifications, the details to that program in somewhat. If you guys fill out the questionnaire, you'll even get more. And then underneath this part, I have another option that's in green heading, where, let me scroll to it, 1 second. It's self-employed funding if you don't qualify for the first one, that lender and or organization. Underwriting there. Online bank term loans, if you're looking for a longer term and it's an actual business loan, then that's something you may qualify for, it may not be. So everybody wants longer terms until they really realize that they can or can't qualify for it, and they go, is this really in my best interest to do? Not a lot of times for many, some it is for others. So over here, I have the SBA 7A option. I have many different preferred lenders. I might only give you a handful or one or so on this, but if you fill out the questionnaire, then I'll be able to evaluate, analyze, and give you a proper response back via email on your best funding option and options with, or I should say from an expert and myself. I'm doing those. So here, if I scroll down, business lines of credit, and many more. I may leave one or multiple options, and the first one that I usually put is the one that's best suited. And again, it's based also upon those details you would submit into the questionnaire that I'll have for you in the description. So I think that's where I want to round this up, and I'll go to the comments if there is anything. I'll leave it for a quick frequently asked question FAQ if you guys have anything. But just to quickly recap again, the EIDL, foregoing on deck collections of anything up to, let's just put it this way, under 100,000. Now, there's a lot more that details that. Again, I could have spent 30, 45 minutes going on this subject, going through the letter, detail per detail, word for word, on what was sent from a senator from Iowa, Joni Ernest. But again, that's not something that I want to dive too deep into right now, because I gave you guys a quick summary on what to look out for and what may happen in the future. If there's more that it can be forgiven, could that be worked on? So there's a lot of back and forth, a lot of stuff and stipulations with what happened with the PPP and people going after a lot of fraud, and then fraud within the EIDL, and those people being looked at first at the ones with the highest amount, and then working backwards from it. Will there be any forgiveness for those above 100,000, at least 150,000? So if you have that balance, well, maybe we pay off 100,000 remaining with 50,000 left that you have to pay. There was any discharge and you went to bankruptcy, can that be forgiven? It could in cases. So it just depends on your situation and what's happening. So let me go to the comments and make sure there is anything. And let me look through my notes just to make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay. Covered all that I needed to. Let me see. Appreciate you. Thank you, Hans. What did you mean by fake business? Does anybody have anything they would like to share? I'll leave it open for about a minute. If nobody has anything, it's okay. This is a spontaneous live. I just wanted to update you guys on EIDL. A few bits and pieces. Again, like I said, I could spend as much time as I want to on EIDL. Like I've seen other videos, and sometimes I will on specific topics. But I think I want to highlight the importance of trying to get yourself fundamentally with your funding details and your revenue, your time in business, the credit, and these things, and different options that are based on credit, cash flow, and collateral. There's also business vendor credit at the very bottom. Good question. How do I reach out to you for SBA? You can email me. For everybody in here, my email, it is my first name, Michael, at viralfundingsolutions.com. Again, it is Micha as in Adam, E as in Edward, L at viralfundingsolutions.com. Yeah, I get flooded. So I'll miss emails here and there. It's very common. And yes, I am sorry for that. It does affect me sometimes because I try to get back to people. Yes, the reason I didn't do it first too is because sometimes TikTok doesn't even show my email. I've had people comment, well, it didn't display. So here it is. You guys can see that. Now, if you're emailing me about the SBA and asking if you can get funding and can this be forgiven anything over 100, 150,000, what if this and that, there's still some speculation to all of this. So I can't give you a clear yes or a no on that. But as things do evolve, then I may be able to. So like an update on this video. And again, I didn't get too deep into everything. You guys maybe have heard a little bit about this already, but I can get into it deeper. I just didn't want to do that for time. It's a Friday. I don't want my world or your world to just revolve around SBA EIDL, if we're being honest. How many of you agree to that? because there's more to life than just, I get it, it's your business, you're worried about making payments, you're struggling, that's one part, but what else can you do? What else will you do? Not can, I have the knowledge, but will you do is taking action on it. And that's what I'm always here to give you guys information on, whether it's SBA EIDL you're taking action on, the PPP, the Employee Retention Credit, the 10K grant, other options like grant opportunities. You're looking for alternative private lenders, private investors, equity crowdfunding, hedge funds. There's venture capitalists, angel investors. I can go on, but I'm connected with just about all of them. So I'll leave it open now that I reset the time for about another minute. And like here, I have a document and I put a few bulletin points on this for the SBA EIDL, but I pretty much covered this. And this is a lot of just some speculation and going back and forth, proposed rules for continuing through the SBA lending programs with fraud, predatory lending practices, and then there are other vulnerabilities. And so there's just a few things that have been said and just going back and forth on that. And more should be getting unpackaged as we move forward into this month, as well in the coming months. So here is just a little bit of this that it's just, again, it's speculation, and it's just we're trying to help and we're not trying to help at the same time, and how much they would collect. And this just kind of goes here with Ernest questioning SBA Administrator Guzman on Biden's administration decision to not pursue debt collections on roughly around 1.1 billion worth of PPP loans under 100,000. And so there's this whole thing with EIDL underneath 100 and then PPP underneath 100,000. And so there's a huge amount of back and forth there. And then over here I have my email that I'm looking at from certain clients, and then I'm going to open up this tab. Like this is the file here that I'm looking at. I'm not sure if you're in here now, but this was submitted 11 minutes ago. So I'm looking at a questionnaire, and this will again be down below in the description, guys, or in the bio. But let me go to the comments. viralfundingsolutions.com. It should be in the comment that I put, unless you couldn't see that. So Michael at viralfundingsolutions.com. Hey, how are you doing? It's going good. Just in the beginning of this, I detailed a little bit about the SBA EIDL loan update. I didn't go into it too deep because it's of my belief now that a lot of that stuff is speculation and it's just some back and forth. And I think, like I said, are we going to just sit here and worry about foregoing our payments and not having to get into collections and worry about making our payments? I get it. Some businesses more than others. But at the same time, what are we doing about it that's different? What can we do right now? Can we recover credit? Can we go get working capital for 2 to 3 years and that helps us out in some ways more than others? Can you work on your credit in that time? So these are little things that as a business owner, it's not about being financially like high. I'm not saying you have to have the financial aptitude to be able to understand this stuff. Others, yes. But at a very basic level, it's just understanding the credit, cash flow, and collateral. Yet people don't want to go through it because they want what's quick. You want quick money. I want to just get this money at the 24 months, and I want $700,000 with an interest rate of 8%. And so if you're not in the position to get that, where are you coming from with that? How are you coming up with that number? Okay, I need to use my funds for this. I need to do it for that. But what made you think that you could get these terms? Okay, because I based it on the EIDL loan 30-year or a home. Oh, okay, now I have a better understanding. Oh, my friend told me, okay, that's the root of the cause. There's the problem that lies. It's because a friend. It's because somebody else. Maybe somebody was trying to scam you. Somebody telling you that it was like this. And I go, no, if you're doing this, at most, you might only get 50,000. What? I wanted 350,000. I want to make sure that I'm. Do you have collateral, Mr. or Mrs.? Do you have a home that you would like to put down equity on? Do you have enough equity on? Do you have 401k, IRA, stocks? Well, if we're looking at a private lender and they're doing collateral, do you have the annual revenue requirements for that? Do you have the unpaid invoices? Like, there's only so much that I can do for certain people. What it comes down to, and this is what I'm going to segment into for the next couple of minutes, guys, and I'm going to close up. If there's any comments, please feel free and I'll get to you. I've said it before, but you guys do need to hear it over and over. It comes back down to character. I can remember as far back when I was getting started in this, when I was a 9-to-5 employee and I was underpaid. I couldn't move up a level and the company ended up going down under. I ended up transitioning to another that bought over, and it only lasted not even months until 50 plus people were then relieved from HP, Peace Health. I was in one of the biggest contracting companies, servicing those companies in a financial logistics position. And I was in that role where I didn't really let things get to me or my head, but I was a very different time in my younger 20s where I was going through a breakup back then with somebody I was in love with. It was a time I was doing other things and I wasn't so much working on my personal development. So I would let little things get to me. And I was not somebody who was negative ever or dissatisfied. And if something happened, I knew how to bounce back from it. But there were things where I was like in a corner. I didn't know where to pivot. I didn't know where to turn to. If I had resources, could I be resourceful? I didn't even know much about being resourceful. I didn't know none of this stuff. I didn't know how to like just go into a book and just read it with the personal development book. I knew how to read good books, but when it came to other things, I was just stuck in this corner where I felt like I couldn't help myself. I didn't know how to program my mind. I didn't know with this situation in this job or when I was in school how to exactly, because they don't train you for that stuff exactly, the finances, but they don't always train you for that whole personal development and how your mindset is everything. And so, not that I was going through the motions of things, but I could have handled things better, whether they were verbalized or not. My actions could have shown for it better. Instead, I sometimes would go into my cocoon, or sometimes I would just repel from something. But until I realized, okay, I need to start preparing myself for starting a business at that time, I had enough. I'd either go back to school, finish another semester, get another degree, or I go back and get more certifications. Heck with the certifications. Confined space certified and a lot more things I wouldn't even want to get into again. But I went through those in a construction, manufacturing position back in my younger 20s when I had to do those things at that time. And so at that point, I transitioned. I heard from a friend of mine telling me about passive income. Started telling me about e-commerce. Okay, I knew about that, but he went into it even deeper. So then what I did is I got home literally one day. I started doing my research like a lot of us do. I learned about digital marketing agency more so. And I said, okay, through videos and blogs, I can do this. So I started getting a website together, started setting things up, and I started going into my closest group of people and seeing if I could help them. And I started learning my skill sets by learning and applying them. And then that grew. Still have that lead generation digital marketing agency, affiliate marketing in the health space. I was doing that at the same time. I was building something out in the back pain space. I still have that up. It's pretty big. And I've helped out a lot of people with supplements. I have my ergonomic chair. I have my seat cushion behind me and down below me. I have other things out there that I've shown, I've demonstrated use of, and so much more. And I built that, and I still have that. I have a few other ventures. I did a hybrid affiliate with ecom at the time where I made that shift to Shopify, WooCommerce, and then I went back from WooCommerce back to originally doing affiliated blogs. And then other ventures, eventually getting into this as a business loan broker. But none of that would have come into fruition if I hadn't worked on myself. So my character was never bad. I've always been educated. I've always been punctual and disciplined, but I was lacking that consistency. And when I would fall, I would come back, but just barely, my head over the water. And then I would just, 2 seconds later, a week later, and I'm back again, but not with the same mindset. And so what it came down to was personal development. That is the key to everything. And once I started getting into reading books more on personal development, business related, that's when I really started to have things clicking for me. And once I started getting into these masterminds, I started going to not necessarily the events, but online events because of what happened with COVID and some other things. But that was a way another one. And then I started getting into, that was even more at that time when I was getting into those. But assimilating myself and getting immersed in those motivation, willpower videos, and every day building a routine. Every day when I wake up, what do I do from there to the time I'm done with my work? My routine, my Atomic Habits, a great book to read. I have it here and I read it every single day. I read about 3 pages of it today. I've read that book around 10 to 15 times. I kid you not, guys. I've read this book literally about 10 to 15 or so times. And in what span? Probably in the span of a year to two. Like literally, yes, because I flip back to certain sections that remind me of how far I've come and where I still need to get to. And that part will help me in my day. And that's why I read it. And then I have other books that I'm finishing up. I'll get more books, whether I go into the bookstore or I do it online. But it's all about safeguarding this. And once I understood that, my business started to exceed. Of course, you still have to learn the strategy, the tactics, the finances, and all that. I had that already. What it was the consistency up here, right here. And so when somebody gives me something and I go, okay, pay no mind. There are comments, there are people who are probably upset with themselves. That's what it is. And I have compassion for those people. Literally, I do. I have my arm around you and I go, it's okay. Don't worry. I know you're upset now. It won't last. Let me help you. And so I don't have anger or I'm not resentful. I have compassion for people like that. You can bash me all you want. You can say this and that. A lot of it isn't even true. Does it affect me? Heck no, it doesn't affect me. Do I laugh at it? Normally not. Unless it's one of those like, my goodness. This is like laughable, serious. Like, oh my. But certain people like to lash out because they're not the person they want to be. That's what it is. And you can tell me all you want about, well, I have children and I have a family that needs to... Stop. Mm-mm. Get it out of your head. And the thing is, here's what we need to do. This is what we need to focus on. You're not going to build those habits up in a day. They're going to build up over repetitious time. So you got to do these things every day. Have a set calendar. Today, on a Friday, guess what I do in the afternoon? Does anybody know? If you've heard me say this before, around 3 or 3:30. I'm like an old man now. At my age of 30 years old, I'm an old soul at heart. I need to go on my walk. I need to go on my jog. Literally, my mom will tell you, Michael, you're like an old man. Thank you for the comment. I don't say it. Appreciate you. But I know because I've instilled these values, these virtues, these aspirations, these beliefs that align. Not beliefs that I think are right, but they're not. See, when you're looking for funding, all of this comes together. Why am I saying this, Michael? Or why are you saying this, Michael? I'm saying all of this to say what fundamentally is wrong when we go through an application, why it doesn't pan out this way, why there's no patience, why there's no feedback, why there's no open-mindedness, even before we even get into an application, post-application. Why do you think things are so unpredictable? Because of character. The person, that's what it is. Your reputation, how people see you in your business. Your character, how people see you. You as a person. Are you hiding that from people? Are you only like this to your employees? Like, hey, I'm this person and I need people to go to the jobs. But who are you when I'm working with you? That's who I get to know. That's what I get to see before a word is even said. And I'm an introverted person. If you know anything about introverts, if you are one, we're very keen to observe. We don't talk a lot. We can pick up on signals without even a word being said. Even when I get on a call with someone, I could already tell with there being a pause because I listen more than anything. I would know the direction that this will fall into. So it's not about what you say or what I hear. It's about what is not being said and what I can't hear. Anytime you guys are in communication with someone, whether they communicate well or not, what are they not saying? What is that other broker, that other lender, organization not telling me? that I need to know, but I can get it from Michael because he's transparent. He's extremely loyal. He's not somebody who sells. Heck, I don't even have a sales background. If you guys heard me say this, I come from an academic background. I was a Division I soccer player. I took my studies seriously. I ended up working in different departments in different fields. Who the heck has time to be a sleazy salesperson? Who has time to overrun their words? If that's you, I'm not looking down on people like that. I'm just saying I'm not one of those who's going to stumble or just mumble. I'll have the right tonality to help you. I talk slow because what I need to transmit needs to make sense. I could tell when somebody's just talking just to talk. I can tell when somebody is just delaying by saying, or right, or and it's not like they're delaying all the time. It's just, I don't want to hear that. I want somebody who can give me better pronouns, somebody who can give me better vocabulary, even though it's not, I break it down into layman's terms and so forth. But I want somebody who's going to, in an email, if it's ever a phone call with me, it's not always given in this industry, because I get it. There's too many people who are pretenders and action takers. They're here one day, but then they're gone the next. But a lot of people, they stick with me when they find out at the end for themselves that it's not so much about the business funding, but the person, the relationship. Even if they don't open up, like I don't open up too much to everybody because that's who I am. I don't trust people easily. But you have to peel me back, like literally the same, I've said this before, the same layer on an onion. You got to really okay, dang, I got to scrape now. I got to find out another way to peel back this layer or else I can't eat. That sometimes happens. Other times, if I feel comfortable enough with you, I will. But there's a lot of people, especially in this space, when they ask me, why don't you get on a call, Michael? Well, I can't trust you and I can't take that 50-50 split. How many of you in here right now can take that? Somebody tells you, oh, I got a client who 50-50 will go forward. And I ask more questions. I ask, what have they tried, if anything? Okay, they're looking around. They tried this. And okay, that leads me down another question. Well, why do you think I don't get on a call with someone like that? It's not because, they have bad credit and they have low that I don't get on a call with them. That's not the point. I don't even get on calls with people who are doing $3 million, $4 million a month, not even a year. We generate $100 million plus a year because these people are also cocky. They're ignorant. They're stubborn. There's no fundamental character. They work so hard. Okay, yeah, I'm not taking that away from you. But where are you? Who is Jimmy? Who is Sally when they're not in their reputation? Who are they when they're just the person, how their family sees them? And if you ever saw me in person, just know that I don't say a lot. But you better believe that I'm observing you. And I'm a Libra. So Libras, and I speak Spanish and English, so we don't communicate the way we transmit romance or how we say it to our significant other. We show it by how? By our gestures, by our expressions. So a lot of the times that's how it works, especially for myself. But the thing is, it does come down to character. I've overextended this topic on character, but just know, guys, that matters greatly to me. And like I was listening to Alex Hormozy. How many of you know who that is? I was listening to a podcast, and I'll be listening to some of his podcasts today too again. I'll go to the comments in a second. Appreciate you. Thank you. He was saying this last week, and he spoke to me, and I knew this already. Guys, nice. I speak to this too. Like what he said on my walk, I was literally walking already 5 minutes down my road with my AirPods in. I had my sweater on. I had my beanie on. I had my hoodie on. Like you couldn't even tell I was listening. You see me walking down the street, you'd think I would just be some average person, and that's what I want to present myself as. I don't want to be like this fancy looking person, and that's not who I am. And so listening to his podcast, if you've listened, he spoke about how he makes his money and what he does, and how he's only accepting people with the right character, the personality traits, and they do matter a lot. Like I don't have to say it. he spoke exactly what I've been thinking and what I've been thinking more of lately. It's just the person's character. And that does, guys, it does get in the way. Well, Michael, he doesn't know what he's talking about. That's fine with me. It doesn't bother me if you think that way. But you need to shift your own belief, the way you think, because that's wrong. You haven't seen it yet. Or maybe you've done it, but you've been so blinded by. I have people who go to their own banks. I want 50,000. If you don't give me 100, and then oh my goodness, like that's not even your business. That's a character issue. That's a problem with the person. Literally, I've had these stories. I had a client who she said, "I'm not connecting you to my ex-husband or so forth because I know he's going to cause a lot of problems." And I go, well, I don't want to deal with a person like that. I don't care if they're generating $350,000 a month. I could give a damn. What I look for is the actual person. People have betrayed me. And I did what? I didn't do anything to deserve that. Like, I'm a very humble, respectful person. I actually do a lot of this very well. And then still people, they do things without saying it. People who try to go get something else where I'm like, I was just trying to help you. I told you what to do and what not to do. Yet you went ahead with your ego. You thought you'd go shop around, which wasn't in your best interest. They come back to me, email me. Oh, well, can we do that? How about a little, hi, how are you? Hi, I'm sorry. Hi, I apologize. Not a, oh, I can read you guys an email. I'm not going to read it word per word, but let me see if I can find it from last night. I looked at this email when it came in and I was like, hi to you too. See, that's a good place to start. And I still have to email this gentleman back. Okay, it's on another email of mine. It's not on this one. I'd have to go open it up in the other one. But the point being is that I've had people who just say, hi, Michael, how are you? That goes a long ways with me. If you guys really know my character, that really goes a long ways with me. It really does. Like, that's the person I'm going to go to battle with for sure. Not this, I'm looking for, or not even hi. Sometimes they say hi. Hi is okay. Could be enough. That's fine. But at the same time, some people just go, looking for 400,000, 500,000. I was hoping we can connect. Yeah, hi. I hope you are well too. It's in other businesses where that doesn't happen generally. And the other ones, a lot of the times they do ask hi, or they say hi, how are you? And if just a few little entrance points. I spoke with a lovely lady today on GoDaddy. There's a domain of mine where, have you guys ever forgot to renew a website? I didn't know it was like that with GoDaddy. I've never missed anything. But just recently, I missed it by a day, and there's like an auction about something. I'm like, no, I didn't know they did this. But I was very calm with her on the phone. She was very nice. We got through it together. She reassured me what to do, and now it's pending for a couple of days. And it's unfortunate, but sometimes we get so busy, like I told her, that I have multiple accounts, different third-party services and everything. Sometimes you just end up missing one when you're going through your checklist and you go, oh, that's the one I missed, but I couldn't get back to it in time. So it happens. Don't feel guilty for it. And if sometimes you see something to be prepared for it, but don't do it, it's because you get busy sometimes. And I set a time for me to do it, but then something else came up and I couldn't get back to it. And then by that time, but I'm usually good in staying on top of these things. It was just a billing thing. So what happened is I was issued a new card. How many of you have had this before? I go, oh, okay, now I have like 10 different accounts. I got to go switch the credit card under, or I have one all-in-one platform. Or, okay, I have it listed on what all my accounts are, which I usually have spreadsheets of that. But for this one, it wasn't there. And so I had just missed it, and it happens. And I went, oh, so you're telling me I have to spend part of my day speaking to somebody about that? Let me go to the comments 1 second. Appreciate you, Fabian. Thank you. Yeah, you and I both know. And depending on the fields we're in, of course, how deep it goes. Like I tell everybody, you don't need to speak a lot. Just do more. Like with me, when you're giving me information, I'm listening more than I ever say anything. On Julian's live, excuse me, Juliana's. Trying to remember where that one was from. Maybe you can point me to it. But yes, I'm a business loan broker and an expert at this, by the way. Not just like, you know how people get trained in this space and they go out there to help people? I'm very systematic, professional at what I do. I have a background in digital marketing. So just imagine plugging in that background to this field. It's like on steroids. And so I've pretty much assembled something as a business loan broker and a reputation for helping clients of all services. I niched down for a long time in the trucking industry. So I know that industry like the back of my head very, very well. I still get clients from there. But I've done everything, literally construction of all types, medical, manufacturing, retail, restaurants, beauty salons, technology, agriculture. I just actually helped a friend today in the agriculture space. And I know those pain points. I really do. The problems that arise with certain industries. What's the scenario look like for insurance here? If you have to plot this kind of land, raw land, you have underdeveloped land. What are you trying to do with these hookups? Are they already set up? Are they not? When will they be set up? Anything real estate related to, I'm in that space. Well, how does he do it? Because I've learned it over time. I've specialized, and then I started branching out a lot, and I started understanding different clientele. Did a lot of fix and flips. I did a lot of multifamily. I get clients from all different directions, and I know how to handle it like very, very well. I know how to transmit that information. It isn't like I'm just getting stuff and not knowing what I'm talking about. I have friends in the real estate investor friends, like the top in their space, and I actually communicate with them from time to time. The people in their spaces, accountants, bookkeepers, etc. And they even will send me a flood of people at times. It periodically changes though, depending on what they have and when they want to submit something. But I take care of them too. Let's say they bring me someone, and if you guys would like to do that, I can compensate. Don't worry about that. Excuse me. I'm very careful and cautious about what I say, what I do. And so if one of you would like to, or bring more than one person over, if they need funding, you need me to connect with them, I have, again, my ways of doing it. When people go, hey, I have somebody to connect you with, once you know my processes, my systems, and my automation to all of this, I would like for you to let them know, hey, Michael will be getting in contact with you via email to start, or he will be sending you this questionnaire, have that submitted, and this is his process. So what I do, and I've built this out and it's been proven and battle tested, this kicks out the pretenders and action takers. And this is already untraditional financing. So again, I found out what I can do from these spaces with my math and system wired brain. And I figured out that when people initially get in contact with me, whether it's through offline, which I have that, or it's online, like you guys here, or in other channels, what I prefer to have somebody do is fill out my questionnaire, fill out my real estate. There's probably an equipment one or a business one. The business one entails equipment stuff, so you can fill it in there. So there's the business funding, there's a real estate questionnaire. There might be more of them in time, and I'm always iterating this kind of stuff, guys. But let's say you go through the business funding questionnaire, fill it out. It should take you no longer than a minute. You can give me some rough estimates, somewhere around the ballpark. That gets filled out. I'll land in my email. Like, I'll look at one right now. Let me go to this. So I have a form here that was filled out not too long ago. And I'm looking at their submission. I'm looking at it from top to bottom, from their name all the way down to describe your financial needs, describe your requests for your use of funds, what your expectations are, etc. So I'm able to tell based on credit, cash flow, perhaps collateral could be discovered a little bit more and asked for, but I'm going through my credit, cash flow, collateral. And yes, after we do a soft pull, I'll have a better look, especially if you don't have that good credit, what we can do and what have you already done. So when I ask those questions, what have you already done? What is your highest limit on your personal side? What about on your business? You haven't built anything on your business? Have you established the right entity? You're still a sole proprietor, or what are you trying to get into, an LLC? Excuse me. Have you researched any of that within your state? Yes, I have, but I'm not sure of this. Okay. I would prefer we do a foreign entity on top of your regular LLC, especially if we're going to be going into business credit cards and we're doing business credit cards at 0% interest. Then we do that and we take care of it as fast as we can. And it's probably somewhere around 130, 165, as much as 250, just depending on state and a little bit more things. So you can apply to different banks. All right, so your credit isn't where it needs to be. See, all of this stuff, the domino, we didn't even need to get on a call. Why? Because I see it all here. Now, there's more you need to explain to me that you couldn't put it in a form. I understand that, but I need this form filled out. Why? Energy and time. I need to make sure if I were on calls with each and every one of you every single day, I would not love my life. I would not. And I'm an introvert. I could do well on phone calls extremely well because I've learned the skill, ethically speaking, of course. Never do anything wrong. But if I were spending 20 to 30 calls a day, like some of these other old school, if you're not calling 20, 30 people a day, then you're not fitted for this industry. Those are so much old school people that don't even know what they're doing anymore. Or that they do, but they're just in a different position that they haven't even been in the field long enough to even understand, and are just so old school and set in their ways that they're just cold calling you. How many of you want to be cold called? I don't. Heck, I don't even want to be cold emailed. But if it's something that's a cold email, it looks good. I'm not bombarding. Sometimes I'll send those. I don't want to do cold calls. If I hired a team to do cold calls, yeah, but I don't want to put them into that either because there's so many things. I had a team member the other day tell me, have you spoken to your clients? Because we were trying to get them cards. And I'm still waiting to hear an update from my team. And I go, why should I do it? You guys were the one that took care of that part. At least that part. I did this. You did that. You justify that to the client, not me. Why should I get on a call with somebody that it's going to be an aggravated conversation? There's times for it, but I don't want to be that person. Nobody does. But if it wasn't something caused by me, why should I have to explain something that I don't have the full explanation for? Why did you even bring that up? So certain people don't really like it. It's very employee mindset. See, the difference between an employee and somebody who does this as a CEO, owns their own businesses, we think differently. Entrepreneurs align. We think differently. So how you handle an objection, how you handle a task is way different than that employee, at least now. If not, okay. But that person can work their way. They can find their way through like I have and get to that point where they go, I wish if I look back 5 years ago, I would have handled that situation different if I would have known this. I wouldn't have been on a call with that person for more than a minute. I got to know them, and I get to know people fast too. It can be slow, it can be fast. Like the other day, very quickly on a phone call with a lady in about less than a minute. Got to know who they were. I love that. They detailed to me what they were trying to do. I asked them a few questions that were discovery questions that they probably wouldn't have gotten from someone else. Would have they taken more time? I said, we have bad news. Unfortunately, we, like a doctor would sometimes, unfortunately, we can't give you a bigger loan to pay off and consolidate and refinance these until this balances this. What I can do in the meantime, though, is have you submit my questionnaire. Have they submitted it? Have they not? Well, it's up to them. And so what I can do is evaluate and analyze those answers, and I'll have a proper email response back for you. That's what I'll do. You submit that. I take the time. I craft this amazing email for you where it's personalized and customized. I'll navigate you from the introduction all the way down. You're going to be like, damn. That's what I needed. I know that's not what I thought I needed, but it is what I needed. I have an email or a place to look at and say, I don't got to go to 10 different places and try to submit applications here and there. I got everything in one email this Michael guy just sent me. And wow, is it a lot? Of course. Was I overwhelmed? Yes. But he showed me in that email what I need to look for and what not to look for. And by that point, if you then say, hey, I just had a question about this, Michael. Can I get a quick phone call with you about it? Does it make sense for me to do? I'll analyze that. Can it be done over a quick email instead? Yes, you can. Let's do that. Text message, you have that. Facebook Messenger, okay. But does it make sense to do a phone call? Okay. I get into the phone call. They had something that they needed more clarity on that maybe wasn't given there. Usually is all laid out there, but they had another question. They just wanted to be sure. They wanted to hear my voice. You're hearing my voice here. And so I get that. It's me who will answer on the phone the majority of the time unless I have somebody else doing it. But yeah, I can clear it up for you. And if you wanted to hear my voice, but for me, it's like energy and time is everything. Now that I've been on here long enough speaking like this on a Friday, I am going to be a little bit tired. So between 2 to 3, I'm likely taking a break. I'm likely laying on my couch for a little bit, clearing my mind, and then get ready for the rest of my day, get ready for the weekend, go to mass after that. So let me go to the comments and then I will close up. And if I didn't say, I connect people with lenders and underwriters, the best that are out there, by the way. And I can evaluate the documentation. I was doing a cash flow analysis earlier on a client that did qualify. And I had to go through that with my lender and do a few things. No, I do all of them. I think you got that, though, if you're still in here. Somebody asked if I just do cash advances. No, I do all of it. And I know a lot of people have that context. Again, I don't want to be put in that bubble like others. Ooh, there's that cash. I'm not selling you. I'm not. Like, I'm in this space, but I'm not. Like, I'm in it, but I'm not in it for like somebody spewing that information like that, or just trying to close you and sell you. And I don't even like the word sell, to be honest with you. I know how it all works now, but it's not like something I want to give you the value, the perception of, does this option make sense or not? And at that point, it's for you to make that decision yourself. And you only understand your finances. You only understand your character. You only understand how open-minded, how much feedback, and how much patience you have. And these are things that I can help work with you on. And like I tell other brokers, the reason why a lot of people don't go through with you and why, it's because you don't give them enough of a reason why. And when you do, it's not a big enough one. So if you guys have heard me before, all of what I've said on why I've gone through this, why am I in this position, or why should you go through someone like me, I won't go into that now. I've said it before. But also, why the business? So why you, as I'm asking that of you, why Sally, why John, why their business? Is there a big enough reason why? And what are they doing? What are their mission statements or mission statements? Values, beliefs, all this stuff. This is what comes with building an actual high-level revenue generating. The only two things you should be keeping track of the most of are, how much revenue did you generate at the end of the year? What was your profit? How do I increase my profit? How do I decrease it? Or how do I avoid decreasing it during these periods? Now, those are more high-level questions. And once I understand the business better, then I can give you guys better direction on, well, we got to cut these expenses right out. At the beginning of the year, you should have nothing being paid towards this. You need to focus on this product first. You haven't even grown it or scaled it. You just added 2-3 different products. You have money going faster out on this side with this clientele. You need to cut them off, or you need to outsource it to someone else momentarily. And sometimes you can deal with it, other times you can't. But when you guys come to get funding and we have no cash flow, there's not enough of it, am I the one who's the problem? No. Especially when I told you guys. Hello, how are you doing? Is that the amount that you owe? Or is that the total amount that you have on the cards? I know you don't have to get specifically in the personal stuff here. It's what I'm trying to avoid. This is stuff we can do on our back channel or on my email. So you're looking to do some kind of consolidation, but I don't want to jump to a conclusion. Or are you looking to add an additional amount? Probably partial percentage of it goes back to paying your cards, consolidating a few other things. Perhaps there's a refinance situation there. But if you're looking to get more funding on top of that, because you already have it on your personal, we just have to make sure, have you made any kind of recent inquiries, hard inquiries? We also have to look at your debt to income. So when we do a soft pull, myself and my team, I can better understand what you're saying here, and I can dive deeper. Does anybody have any questions before I get going? Okay, understood. And again, I can go on and on. I'm going to close up here soon. But if you haven't filled out the questionnaire, there's where you can give me more information on the total amount you would like to pay off if I already answered that or you did. You can also give me a better answer on what exactly will the use of proceeds be for, and just break it down a little bit for me. If it's going to be used for equipment, will it be used for inventory purchases? Which, by the way, what type of business are you in? Sorry, guys, low energy. I'm kind of tired. Long week. Did a live on YouTube earlier for about an hour. Viralfundingsolutions.com. Viral, something going viral. Funding solutions with an S at the end.com. Oh, okay. Yeah, I know your industry pretty well. I experimented with that. Didn't get deep too into it. I started doing a lot of high ticket affiliate marketing. You are most welcome. So I still do a lot of high ticket affiliate marketing. I've sold quite a lot in the high ticket space. Low ticket, high ticket, recurring products, subscription products, contracted products, a lot of different things in the health space. But what primarily are you in? Is it an assortment of things in inventory, or do you have a specific niche you're focused on? And also, have you tried anything in the past? My hair. This is what it looks like after a long week. It's not that I don't comb it, it's just getting bigger now. My shirt. People have made comments on it. I don't want to bring attention to it, but like, get a better shirt. I go, yeah, I have better shirts. Just some days I just, for convenience, or if it's more of a professional setting, then I'll probably wear something different depending on that occasion. But I got shorts on me right now. I don't have my jeans on. The other day when I went to my dentist appointment. But yes, for Amazon FBA, that's something that I can help with. Again, I have to make sure that the details they do align. But only if you're serious. Again, I tell people this all the time. You can pop up in here as much as you want. But the difference is some little micro and macro commitment. So micro commitment could be yes, but micro could be I filled out the questionnaire. Macro, starting an application, going towards the offer. Micro is making that connection. But what matters most to me above anything, I don't care what that is, it's somebody who takes action. The person who is serious is the one who wins with me, not the person who's just like, I got a guy right now who's a doctor, and there's only so much I can do. And they went behind trying to do something that they shouldn't have done, and it's like, should I can send them one thing, and if they don't correspond to that, that's not my issue, that's their issue at that point. So let's do about 30 more seconds. If somebody has something, then I'll reset the clock. I can't believe it's already... I haven't had breakfast. I've been drinking water. And I can hear my tummy telling me to get up and go. I'm just now exiting out of a few tabs. But one thing I think I want to leave you guys with, if there's nothing, is there's different services. Don't sweet talk into my ear just to make it sound good. And because you know for sure yourself you're not going to do anything about it. I've had people in the past, and this is one that comes to mind, myself and my team, where I'd never want to have to deal with somebody like that ever again. Like, they presented themselves nice. Like, I was on the call with this gentleman a few times. They were very... trying to find the word. corresponding again, I guess. And come to think about it, we were trying to get them an SBA loan, and they were getting an approval of high of a million for, it was their trucking company, and I didn't receive any feedback from them. Just asking them if they've ever made a decision, because we gave them a term sheet that was issued, and I just needed to hear something back, or I wanted to know this. They go on vacation. They said, "Oh, I'll get back to you after vacation." It's people like that that really need a lot of help on their personal side. And I'm not saying that they are bad people, but if you're telling somebody something, do it. Don't even say something back. Just act on it so I see it that you did. But telling somebody, hey, we'll connect, I'll message you back when I'm back on vacation and this and that. And then what am I left to assume? That it could be that you weren't interested, but I can't jump to conclusion and say because you've been unresponsive, that's what it exactly means. Maybe you passed. I don't know. This family related, that can only be one of the many reasons. But when you are unapologetic or you're just very like ruthless, nobody wants to do business with that person. For one, you're gonna find out right away. Okay, I have to. But if you have an option to say, do I want to do business with that person? Never again. Yes, polite would be the right word too. They were being polite, but they were being responsive and polite and corresponding. But yes, that's what it comes down to, guys. And I see this every day, and I'm always working on myself. So I always advise you guys, take what I've said to heart, because I've been there already, done that. I still have places to get to and goals to meet in my life. I'm not saying business goals. Did you guys hear me say business goals? I said I have goals myself. I have goals for myself. I'm not associating myself with any business. I have goals to make you better. I have goals to show up in front of you and make you and myself better. Those are the things that circulate in my mind. Not, well, I'm just trying to get the best out of this. Who's the person? Let me pause you there. See, a lot of people don't come across somebody like myself who listens and listens, and when they get a response back, they go, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Or I should have thought about it more of what I said. Because a lot of the times, it isn't me. It's the other person on the other screen. Let me see if I missed anything. And if I did miss anything, guys, I do apologize. I did want to kind of get through this. I do appreciate the hearts, the likes. If you shared the room, thank you. I don't normally say that. But I think I will bring it home now if there isn't anything. Okay. Always am I appreciated? Of course I am. I'm always grateful. I never take a day for granted. I do live it like it's my last. And I don't say that lightly. I've lost people in my life. Until you really like lose something, guys, don't lose your business to really find out that that's what is affecting you. Until you really lose like someone. Like I lost my dog brother last February, and it was the hardest thing. After 15 years, he had kidney disease, latest stages, a peekapoo. Pekingese mixed with a toy poodle. Small white dog. Greatest thing ever. And got to hold him in my arms the last day. Just a month before that, my grandma passes. I was next to her bedside before she wanted to go back to El Salvador and lay to rest there with my grandpa. Unfortunately, my grandpa passed in the Oregon hospital. We're in Washington. But it's these things, guys, that move the needle for you. And if you haven't lost something big enough yet, you don't have a strong enough why. You can tell me whatever you want. Until you really lose, until you're playing that game, you're the player one in control, not player two, not player three. You're player one in control. Whether you couldn't control the situation yourself, but you did everything you could. That's ultimately what you have to ask of yourself. Did I do everything that I could have? And I let the chips play the way they needed to be played? But consciously and subconsciously, I can lay to rest and I can be happy. Even the results weren't what I wanted, but I know what I have to do at least next time. Or how do I get better prepared with this? So until something really lights up underneath you, you go, I've had it enough with this marriage. I've had it enough with my husband or my wife trying to do all of this. Having a spending spree, going to her Dolce and Gabbana and whatever the heck. I could care less about any of that. I don't care how much money I make. You'll still see me wearing things that are very like old person, like jeans and a nice zip up or somewhat of a nice zip up hoodie, sometimes depending on the day. Sometimes I believe in that. You do have to treat yourself, but everybody has different tastes. And so just keep that in mind. Have a strong enough why. Your why will move you. It will move bridges. It will move everything, literally. And I'm a testament to that. When it shows you, and that why can change. That why changes. Like before it was this. I was moving away from pain towards pleasure, or I was going towards pleasure. Now I have an even stronger why. This happened, boom. I'm going to make right. I'm going to prove. I'm going to put this in the name of them. And I'm going to work my ass off every day. But I'm not going to forget about who I am. I'm going to work hard, but I'm also going to take time to develop myself as a person. That's ultimately it. And that right there is what I look at and go, that's it. All right, everybody. Appreciate you all. Take care. Bye.